Okay, from that last tutorial you should have a fill set. We need to set that back to no fill. So up in my tool control bar I've clicked on my fill color and set it to the one that is white with a red stripe going through it. And let's take a look at how to make curves with your pen tool. So you should have your pen tool and be kind of zoomed in on C. So the very first thing we're going to do is to set our first anchor point by clicking on the one on the left. And then to create a point that is curved, you click and drag, and you will create what are called Bezier handles. They control the direction of the path leading into and out of an anchor point. And then click on the last anchor point. Now you can come back up here and control these handlebars. So you can either come and get your white tool, let's see if I can say this, the direct selection tool or the white arrow over here in your toolbar, or even easier, you can just hold down Command and that will let you click on any point and you can control where that point is. You can click and drag it, or you can click on the little dots at the end of these Bezier handles and control them. So if you grab one of those, you'll notice if you drag it down, the one on the left will go up. So these are connected and they will move opposite of each other as far as angle goes, but you can stretch them out without affecting the other ones. So if I stretch that out, it could be a larger or smaller curve. To get off of your path, just hold down the Command key and click elsewhere on the canvas. You can also hit the Escape key. So let's come down to D and take a look at all these fun curves. So again on this one we're going to begin by clicking once to set a point, and you should have now a shape 4 in your box. I think, yeah, 4 shapes. So click once and then click and drag to add a curved point. And if you ever set a point a little further off of where you want it to be, all you have to do is hold down Command and you can grab that point and move it and then go right on from there and click to the next point. So this one doesn't have a curve. I'm going to just click once. And then this one has a curve, so I will click and drag and then click once. Now these are a little bit different. If I click once on this one and drag out, the curve does not match, so I need to move this handle around until the curve matches. Now you can also affect the other handlebar by holding down the Command key to get your white arrow and click and drag that if you need to match that side of the path. And then click on the next one and do the same. Now this one's even a little more extreme. You'll need to grab the handlebar of the one before by holding down Command again and drag it down to where it matches. And if you need to, grab the handlebar of this top one. So it's just a good habit to get into to adjust as you go along. It saves you time instead of coming back and having to do it later. So this dot is really far out there, so let's click and drag to create a curve, and then you will hold Command and adjust the previous handle and then adjust the second handle before we're ready to go on. And then you can click on the very last dot. And adjust it to fit. Okay, so that is how you can set curves. And just a reminder, if you ever want to get off of a path, hold down Command and click elsewhere on the canvas or hit Escape. Now there's a couple more tools we need to take a look at before we go on much longer. So hold down Command and just click over this area where we know there's a point, and I'm going to click on that point so that I get both of its handlebars up. So right now these are connected Bezier handlebars, but sometimes we need there to be not that connection. So what you will do is you will either have your convert point tool from over here, Or the better, easier thing to do is hold down, let's get my tool back here. If you hover over that point, it will turn into a little minus. If I click on it now, it will actually delete that point, which is not really what we want to do. So if you did that, hit Command Z. But if you hover over that point and hold down Option, you can turn it into a corner. That will take away the handlebars. So do undo again, Command Z, and we'll take a look at the last option. If you hold down Option and click on one of the handlebars themselves, it will actually move freely from the other line. Now, the only way you can reconnect these two that I'm aware of in Photoshop is to recreate those handlebars. And here's how you would do that. You'd hold down Option and click on a point, which would get rid of it. It'd turn it into a corner. But then if you drag, it will create new connected handlebars, and we're back to the way that we were. So just kind of a quick review over that stuff. If you hold down Option, you get your convert point or convert handlebar, depending on whichever one you're hovering over. So if you're trying to take a path and make it not a immediate curve from one line to the next, you can Option click and drag on one of those handles to change it. And then to restore those handles to be connected, hold down Option, which gives you your little convert V tool, and then click and drag to restore those handles. Let's zoom over here to D and take a look at adding and subtracting points. So we already looked at subtracting point, which means you can hover over any existing point and you'll get a little minus. So that is pretty obvious. You'll take one away. But if you want to add one, all you have to do is hover over part of that path and you'll get a little plus sign, and you can click and add an additional point. And this one, if you hold down Command, you can grab that just to see what it will do. Move it around. To delete a point, remember, just let go of everything and hover over it. It will automatically let you delete it. Now I'm going to hold down Command and just pull that back out and fix it. Alright, so let's take a look at kind of all that and put it together down here. This is a little bit more of a complicated line. I'm going to begin my shape by clicking on number 1. If you want to Command click somewhere to just make sure you're not on your last shape, that's probably a good idea. Click once on number 1. In fact, I'm going to click on that dot again and drag out a handlebar. And this time when I click on number 2, it will let me make that curve. So here's where we need to convert a point on the fly. So if you hold down Option and just click on number 2, what it will actually do instead of taking away both handlebars is it will take away the outgoing handlebar. So now we can click on number 3 and it will be a straight line. Now when you're clicking on number 4, hold down the Shift and you'll notice that it will be a perfectly straight line. In fact, do the same for number 5 and then down to 6. Let's click on number 7 and pull that out and see kind of what we need to do to 6 to make this work. So for 6, we'll drag out some handles here. Now I'm holding down the Option so that I can affect them separately. Straighten that one back up and then switch to Command. I know this is going to be a little bit confusing for just a little while, but if you do it a few times, I promise it will make sense. So I'm holding down to Command anytime I want to move points or really the handlebars around. If I want to convert something, then I would hold down Option. So now I'm going to continue on and just click once on 8 and then adjust my previous handlebar. Now all of my handles have just disappeared because I Command clicked off. To get those back, if you just hold down Command and click somewhere near where you think a point will be, you should be able to see some that will just show up. Alright, let's continue on. I'm going to click over the point on 8. Now I'm going to back up. I did a Command Option Z. So I'm clicked completely off of my path. If I hover over 8, I see a different symbol. So when you see that little slash line, that means you're actually on the path and you're just continuing. When you see a little, it's like a little square with a line coming out of either side of it, that means that if you click on this, you will activate that path and then you can continue on. So it's a little bit of a technical difference. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just know if you see either that line or the square with the line coming out of it, it will continue your path. Hold Shift, click 9. And there we go. If you need to, hold down Command and go back and adjust anything. This is still kind of a funky area. In fact, I think I did that a little different than it showed on the written instructions. So you know what? Just for practice, I am going to get rid of some of these points and go back and do that again. So I can get rid of them individually by just clicking on them with the little minus. Oh, you know what? It's not even going to do that. So click, hold Command, click and drag around a dot, and then you can hit the delete key, and that will get rid of that anchor point. So I'm going to get rid of all my anchor points back to 5, and then I'm going to click on 5. So here's where we can do this a little differently. Hold down Option when you click on 6, and then you can drag out a handle, which is I think what I meant to do originally, and then go on. Alright, there we go. Sorry for the confusion on that. Just show you a couple different ways to do things. So converting lines you can do either way. If you hold down Option, going from a curve, it will be straight coming out the other way. If you hold down Option coming from a straight and then click and drag, it'll come out curved the next way. And that is the pen tool super uber basics.